Hello. It's Wednesday, and we're in a that's... thank you, Mr. Siren Man. Hello, it's Wednesday, and this is a finished Imperial Guard army. Yay! Did it. Nailed it. This is 2,000 points for Imperial Guard. It's a little bit over. Little smidge over 2,000 points. It depends entirely how you run it. It has got a lot of the Forge World stuff in it, and I've been working on it basically for 4 years. Which isn't true. I started it 4 years ago. So I started this army 4 years ago, during which I painted this, the 2 Russes, that Hydra, and about 30 infantry and a couple of Cyclops demolition vehicles. And I think that got me to about 1,000, 1,500 points. Yeah, about that. At the time. It was back in 7th edition of Warhammer 40k. It was straddling 6th and 7th. And I painted all that up, and then I kind of stopped. And it's been sat on my display case for, ever since then, really. It spent a while in a Games Workshop display cabinet in my local store for about 6 months, and then went in my display case for another 3.5 years, during which time I never even touched it. And then I decided I need to sell this army for 2 reasons. Number 1, I need the money. I'm broke, need money. Have army, will sell army to make money. Simple. And number 2, I need the space. This is a 4-year-old project that's been sitting in a display case taking up stuff, and I've not played with it more than twice in all of those years, because I don't get to play Warhammer 40k at this kind of scale. If I get to play Warhammer 40k, then it's usually around kill team type sizes, and or just little patrol detachments like 500 points, because anything else takes too long and takes up too much space. So yeah, this is kind of the end of my 2,000 points of Imperial Guard collecting. I still have a very large Orc collection and a decently sized Death Watch army. But the Death Watch is an elite army, so you can get a lot of points from not very many models, and the Orcs are just, passion project. But regardless, this is the army. Now, a bit of history about them. They're based on the Cadian 6th Armoured from Imperial Armour 8, the Mimiaran conflict that occurred there against the Eldar. I originally had the plan of collecting all 4 of the forces that are involved, which would have been the Cadian 6th, which is what I started with, and the Legio Gryphonicus. So I was going to get a couple of Warhound Titans and paint those up. That never happened. The Craftworld Eldar from Craftworld Mimiara, which I did a few test models of but never really got very far with them, and I bought a bunch of Shadow Spectres, which are still sitting in my bits box, unassembled, and I probably never do anything with them. And the final army was going to be an Eldar Corsair army. I got this bit done. I got 2,000 points of this done. If I was going to do it again, I wouldn't, basically. It was a lot of fun at the time, but my painting style has moved on drastically since I did these. So all of the infantry that I painted originally, over here, all of these guys, so not these 3 models up the front here, but everything else was painted 4 years ago in about a week. And in that week I did 1 squad in 5 hours, and then the other 40-odd guys that needed painting, I did them on the weekend of that week over 2 days. And it was a super fast paint job on all of them. mostly just kind of doing a pre-shade with an airbrush, just doing a zenithal pre-shade with an airbrush, and then layering up washes of Chthonian Camera Shade and Seraphim Sepia, then using the airbrush to do highlights on them again, and then just going back in with some red inks to do these little shoulder pads and the stripes on the helmets for the sergeants. Over here, let's pick this guy up and see if the camera will let me look at it. So let's get the light. So yeah, this is one of the sergeants from 4 years ago. As you can see, it's a Chthonian Camera Shade wash on the pants and Seraphim Sepia on the torso, which I then just basically obliterated with some white paint. These are the hostile environment torsos from Forge World, just with Cadian, everything else is plastic Cadian bits, the arms, the legs, just plastic Cadian bits, and then the hostile environment torsos. I wouldn't recommend buying them at all from Forge World, because all of the ones I got were really, really bad casts. And from what I can tell, actually, I've done a comparison between the Forge World paint job and what I got from them, and it's the same, which is to say the casting is bad of a bad model. Like, there's so much detail that doesn't cast well off those models. I can't recommend ever buying these. The idea of them looks great, the concept art of them looks great, but the actual execution in terms of model, there's so many bits that break really, really easily. Like, this sergeant's actually one of the few that's come out pretty decently. Pick up, this is a Vox caster. A lot of these bits have broken, and in the case of the plasma gunners, the pipes, there's supposed to be pipes running from the plasma gun to the power pack here. Those were completely just dead on arrival. Straight out the packet from Forge World, completely dead. So I just snipped them off. And they look okay. Given the size of the army and the amount of money that it originally cost, the person that's buying them is actually getting a pretty big bargain. Because it's like 700 to 800 quid's worth of models, and then all the many hours spent painting. If this was a commission, then this would cost what, $3,000 or something like that. It's not, and it's nowhere near that. Most of the time was actually spent though painting all of the vehicles at the back there. So the first one I painted was this Forge World Hydra. So I think I've shown this off before. When I originally got it, it was second hand from a friend. This bit's all fine. The actual Hydra turret was in pretty good nick. But the top plate that the Hydra turret is supposed to fit into was completely dead. It was warped beyond repair. It wouldn't ever possibly fit the space that was available. These bits here, all of this, these are from that top plate, and this is plastic card with a mount of the turret to keep it from hitting them, and this bit is the original, but also because it wouldn't fit, there's a gap. And you get this on all of these kits because it was based on the old Chimera kit, and trying to marry that Forge World Hydra to the new Chimera kit is impossible. So there's a bit of a gap, and I hid it all up by putting some fuel tanks on the back. Again, this is 4 years ago. I'm a much better modeler and painter now, but it looks good at a glance, and it's totally good on the tabletop. And as an army, it looks great. Just don't get too close to it. And this is all just polished up, varnished and polished up. So yeah, that was the first tank that I painted. 4 years ago. And then I went straight on to the Shadow Sword. Now, the Shadow Sword is a lovely kit, and if somebody wants to commission me to paint a super heavy tank company of 3 or more Baneblade type variants, I'm more than happy to take that commission. I really want to do it. I'd like to do it for myself, but I can't afford it. I don't have the time to do such a thing without basically earning money to do while doing it. These are resin cast lamp replacements. When fitting one, I drilled the hole too deep, and you can hear one rattling around inside it because I glued everything together. Then I drilled the holes after I finished painting everything, because I was using a brush and I didn't want to get paint on the little lamps here. So you can see they're pretty nice. Yeah, I didn't want to get paint on these little lamps, so I drilled the holes afterwards, and then I drilled it too deep, and when pushing one in, it went all the way through, and is now stuck inside there forever. But the paint job's good. There's a little bit of restricted movement on some of this stuff. These come off, and you can put, there's some replacement armour panels if you don't want the sponsons. I didn't magnetise it because, quite frankly, it stays in place with just a little bit of blue tack, and that was a lot easier, to be honest. Yeah. The panels are still in the display case. So yes, I painted this over one weekend, and I've done some touch-ups on it since. And then I painted the 2 Russes. These are both Forge World turrets. Whoops. These are magnetised, and you can see why I didn't really bother magnetising most other things, is that I find most magnets aren't actually strong enough, and it tends to be that when something is magnetised and you're playing with it, you're more than likely just going to knock the magnetised bits off during gameplay. For example, this is magnetised, but it's done so in such a way that you can't ever see the magnets. They're on the inside. Some quite powerful magnets on the inside. Magnets in there. And it just sits on the surface. If you knock it too hard, they will fall off during gameplay. These are some very, very out of print. One of the tank commanders, the hostile environment tank commanders, cannot get these, haven't been able to get these for years now. So much of this stuff is completely out of print now. Yeah, multi-melter sponsons, Vanquisher turret with the heavy stubber coaxial weapon in the same whitewashed winter camo scheme. Again, this was done 4 years ago. All I've done since then is just update the varnish on it. So it's quite an old paint job. But again, at the time my concern was mostly getting these on the tabletop in order to be able to play with them. Because I did a lot more of that 4 years ago. And then I played with them twice and then never played with them again. And I did both these Russes at the same time. Oops. So you've got, what is it, 601 and 602. Woohoo! That was nearly expensive. Everybody got out of the way though. And you got 601 and 602. And this one, the magnets are on the outside. Which, as you can see when you don't have the sponsons on, is just really noticeable. Because all the wash went into them. Really just brought them out. So the other one I did with the magnets on the inside. But I don't have the sponsons for this one anymore. Not that I would recommend running it with sponsons on anyway. Just park it on a hill, fire twice with that Vanquisher cannon. That's, 4 Vanquisher cannon shots a turn. That should kill something, shouldn't it? I don't know. I don't play anymore. So yeah, I really like these fort wall turrets. I think they're a lot nicer than the normal turrets. But standard fort wall caveats apply in that a lot of the detail is kind of smushed and doesn't necessarily come out on the casts anymore. For the most part, they're fine. And if you can go to Warhammer World and go to the fort wall store and actually go through the different ones available and pick out a good one, that's good. But this turret with the heavy stubber isn't available anymore. The only version of this they have is the Steelgeese version, which has got the Stormbolter on it instead. So again, more out of print stuff. And that was pretty much the extent. Oh, I guess I painted these tiny tanks, these Cyclops demolition vehicles. I painted one of these on stream, the more recent one. Painted these 4 years ago as well. Dead simple paint jobs. Couple of decals, job done. And there's 3 of those. And they used to have an operator per thing, which is what these 3 guys are for, but they don't need them anymore. So it's just 3 extra guys knocking about the army. Infantry-wise, there's 3 10-man lasgun squads with no special weapons, but you can mix and match from the other units. We've got a special weapon squad with the melter guns. All nicely weathered up. Very muddy. Despite them being on a predominantly permafrosted world, I decided to go with lots of mud on their fatigues for some reason. So 3 of those melter guns. These bases you can't get anymore. They're from Terranscapes, who stopped making bases a few years ago. Which is a shame because they're really, really nice bases. The melter gun guys actually, in terms of cast quality, came out much better than the rest of the lasgun guys, and far, far better than the plasma gun guys. So we got 1 special weapon squad of melter guns. There's a special weapon squad's worth of plasma gunners, which is why there's what these 3 extra guys were from. So you could field these as a special weapon squad over here, if you wanted. But I put them in the command squad so that you got that ballistic skill 3 up. And also so that they can have a medic hanging around trying to stop them from dying or bring them back. Or whatever it is medics do these days. So these guys just on regular bases with some snow effects on. Some of them have still got the resin bases. Had to mix it up because I didn't have quite enough. And I also converted up a medic out of a Scion's arm. I think the cut's here. Can't quite remember where the cut is on that guy. Yeah, I gave him a Scion's Medikit arm attached to a Cadian thing, and he's doing a little bit of a listen for some reason. And yeah, so there's a medic for that command squad. Now, otherwise, there's 30 additional of these guys over here, just being regular old infantry. So what did I paint recently? Well, I painted all 3 of these Sentinels over here. I'll get the poster boy out. The squad leader, who is I only have the missile launchers, but they are magnetized, which the Sentinels magnetize quite easily for everything apart from the las cannons and the plasma cannons. But I don't have the rest of the weapons left. I was going to magnetize them and paint them in the future, but they ended up getting used for different conversions. This guy's got this guy I painted more recently, and it kind of shows. It's just a little bit better painted than everyone else. He's standing up on his seat, looking out the top of his Sentinel, trying to figure out where the enemies have gone. So yeah, there's 3 of these guys, all of them with missile launchers, which quite frankly I think is one of the better weapons options on Sentinels because they're so versatile. You can be anti-infantry or you can be anti-vehicle with those. I like them. And I painted this guy, who you saw previously. Finished him last week. On his base now. All nice and tidy, all varnished up. Significantly better painted than most of the other models in the army. Because, 4 years has passed. And this week I also finished this Commissar, who I'm dead chuffed with. Let's see if we can get some better light going on. My phone's camera is just like, nah. I will not give you true white balance. It might just be my screen. So yeah, there will be better pictures on my Instagram soon. But this guy spent about 10 hours painting, probably, in total. A lot of it was on the non-metallic metal effects around the trim. Which is only the second time I've done non-metallic metal, actually. So given that, it's come out pretty good. And yesterday and today, I decided that the original commander, who I'm not going to show you because I'm ashamed of it, it was a decent conversion ruined by a terrible, terrible, abysmal cast of a tanked commander that I had converted up into a company commander. It was a Forge World tank commander and came with the same lot that guy over there came with. And that guy over there was a decent cast, but the guy with the peaked cap, he was awful and his face was completely mushed. And 4 years ago, apparently I didn't care. But now I do care. And I cared enough to just go, nope. I don't feel comfortable selling that to somebody for any amount of money, not even £1. So I decided to make another one up out of the remaining spare bits. So this guy's got a slightly more advanced paint job on him. For example, on everyone else's backpacks, they are just white. This guy's backpack I've actually put a little bit more effort into. He's got command shoulder pads with the old skull on. He's got a bolt pistol. His armor plates on his shins have been done. He's got a gold iron skull, winged skull on his helmet. Single stripe for commander. And he's given some signals out. So yeah, I knocked him up in about 4 hours yesterday and today, just because I was like, nope, I can't in good conscience sell that particular commander with this army. It's too bad. So this is a very quick paint job on this guy. But yeah, this brings me on to these models. Yeah, these models they're just not very good. These hostile environment kits, they don't cast up well. They don't paint well. They don't take washes well at all. I would never recommend getting them ever again. So there we go. What did I paint this week? I painted this guy and this guy. I've also been painting the second squig from Zarbag's kits, but there's nothing much to show on there. He's basically just orange at the moment. And that's it. This is my 2,000 points army. I'll probably try and get a showcase video going over the next couple of days. Standard spinny showcase video on a decent lighting so you can really see what it looks like. Also for posterity, so I can look at it and go, oh god, I wish I didn't paint like that anymore, and I don't. Haha. So that you'll see that over the next few days. The videos I said that were going to come this week didn't because of personal reasons. Some stuff happened which delayed everything. and I'm sure you all understand that personal things happen. But they're going to be back on track soon. So yes, there'll be a video on the Orc bases. The Orc Kill Team video will get edited. It's all recorded, just needs editing. That will all go up, hopefully during the next week. I'm doing test models for the Night Haunts to figure out my exact colour scheme on that. I think I've got it nailed, so I'm just doing one more test later today or tomorrow to figure out exactly how it's going to work, and then I'll be recording the video for that. The Orc Dragster's been delayed because I wanted to get the Night Haunts done earlier, because I think it will actually be a bit faster for me to do the Night Haunts than it will be to do the Dragster. And I can get someone else to edit the Night Haunts video while I'm painting the Dragster, so that will be helpful. Because I have helpers now. I don't pay them, but they just, like helping with video editing, which is useful. You may have seen on the Squig video that went up a while ago. Last week? Week before? I can't remember. So there we go. That's what I've been up to. And it's what I've got planned. So Night Haunts video should be soonish. Dragster video I'll be doing in bits. So the first section is literally just going to be about painting wheels. Seems like it should be a relatively simple topic, doesn't it? But yeah, I'll be doing the wheels as a video. I've also got the second part of my Hobby Essentials video. Look at that camera. Autofocus. I've got the second part of my Hobby Essentials video coming up, which will be the painting gear video, where I will be going over the essential bits of painting equipment that I own and recommend that everybody have. Not necessarily the exact ones that I have, but that's a useful thing. And then the third part of that will be the airbrush gear. I'll be going over my airbrush setup. And then after that, we'll be getting into the very basics. Things like how to thin paint, how to apply varnish, how to prime a model. Things like that. It's super, super simple stuff. Should hopefully be quite quick videos. And they will fill some space between the tutorials, which I've noticed are getting further apart, but I blame Games Workshop's October tease for that. I really thought they would have orc models at the start of October, but no, it wasn't to be. So there we go. Ramble over. It's been going on for quite a while now. Almost half an hour. Yeah, that's enough. Thank you for watching my videos. Please like, share and subscribe. You can subscribe there. There's a button to do that thing. You can check out my Patreon there, where I will do a colour guide on this fella on my Patreon. Won't be a video, but I'll put him up for those that want to know how to replicate the process in a not 4 years ago style, because it is quick. It will let you put like 30 Imperial Guard infantry on the table in a weekend. So, if you're interested in that's worth checking out. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, where was I? Yes, subscribe there, Patreon there, whatever YouTube decides to put there, and check me out on social medias over there. I will see you later. Bye bye.